So, Dr. Mohammed Babar Chohan is Pakistan's trade counselor and head of mission in Sao Paulo. He holds a PhD in economic planning from Massey University in New Zealand and an MA in development economics from the International Institute of Social Science, Erasmus University in the Netherlands. He's a CSS officer belonging to the 29th CTP batch of the Pakistan Civil Service. And before joining the Embassy of Pakistan in Brazil, he was posted as commissioner in Pakistan. He also writes for the Express Tribune regularly, and his research articles have been published in various international journals and conference proceedings. He's a seasoned civil servant with vast experience in the financial, administrative, and diplomatic affairs of Pakistan. So, please, Doctor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor to be here and to interact with young professionals, fellows this evening. Originally, my talk was a bit more formal, which I thought. Ms. Thais Loboshi suggested, our trade development officer, a formal talk, which I think, after traveling 4 hours within the same city from Benares to this place, totally changed my mind. I thought, let's talk about transport planning. You know, I'm widely traveled, I went to more than 25 countries. But traffic here in Sao Paulo is terrible. Believe me. I can't believe, once I flew from Sydney to Perth, it took me something like 5 hours. And in the same city, from Benares to airport, it took me 4 hours. Now, coming to the serious side and the philosophical thing behind that is the fact that there is a need to really think deep. What is wrong with Sao Paulo? What is wrong with the traffic of Sao Paulo? Where are the transport planners? What they are doing? And maybe after going through such a, this kind of episode, I would suggest Mr. Rahman to kindly consider a separate panel session on transport planning in Sao Paulo. Look, when we talk about SDGs, United Nations SDGs, and we talk about economic development, we talk about poverty, hunger, economic growth. Did we ever think what is the role of mobility in economic development and economic growth? Did we ever think? This is a very, very important factor. For example, if some investor comes in Brazil, he says that, okay, I'm going to spend $10 billion here in Sao Paulo and establishing some factory, anything. Now he has produced a product. Now he wants to transport his product from his factory to the market. What kind of additional costs will he have to bear for all this? Try to understand mobility. Mobility is such an important concept. Let me take you back to the philosophy of Aristotle. I'm not a philosopher, but just to, emphasize the point. He said that basically, knowledge has got 3 main components. One is techne in Latin, but in modern language, in English, we call it technology, which is pragmatic, context dependent, and variable. Technology keeps varying. Second is episteme, epistemology, scientific knowledge, which is basically invariable but context dependent. I'm just taking a bit serious kind of thing in that. This philosophical thing. But the third component is phronesis. Phronesis means practical wisdom. Whatever we see practically, that wisdom is supreme. Do not rely blindly to technological and epistemological facts. Think what is true practically. Supposing an engineer is saying, sir, build this big flyover in Sao Paulo, it will reduce traffic. Wrong. Because he's not looking at the bigger picture. He's an engineer, a technician. Technology is not complete subject, it's not complete knowledge, it's just one part. Epistemology. Some scientists say, well, we are going to carry out some experiments, so let's dig a big ditch here. Maybe good for the project, not for holistic planning. Third one is phronesis. Okay, we are having 2 lakh vehicles, supposing, I'm just giving a hypothetical figure, entering per day in Sao Paulo, supposing. What are going to be their economic impacts? What are going to be their social impacts? What are going to be their aesthetic impacts? What are going to be the political aspects and environmental aspects? These factors, when you take them all together, there comes the solution. Phronesis, which Aristotle said. Traffic is not that simple. If you go out, you see lots of traffic, traffic is good. No, it's not that simple. It's a deep philosophy. And I think some of our scholars, again I'm repeating, particularly some Brazilian, should come up with a research proposal how to mitigate congestion in Sao Paulo. It is basically dragging Brazil back to Stone Ages. Believe me or not. I mean, what is this going on? For example, you have a jungle of concrete, you have so many high rises. When I came here, I was surprised. I did my PhD from New Zealand, there was no building there. Can you believe? I lived in Palmerston North for 5 years. My wife is here, my son is here. He came directly from school. I could not drop them back home. I took him from the school, my wife accompanied me, he came here. So my point is, if somebody has got some flight, wants to fly, what will happen? It's a serious topic. Somebody will have to carry out necessary research in transport planning in Brazil. This is the point. Now, coming to little bit on short run and long run determinants of economic growth and connecting them with transport, how it works actually. Look, if we look into any economic growth model, say we talk about Solow model, Harrod-Domer model, any model, they talk about 3 or 4 main factors. Capital, you need to invest something. Labor, you need to put the labor in order to earn money, in order to earn profits. Technology, that's absolutely fine. Lucas came up with a new kind of idea when he said no, human capital, education and health. Main part of human capital. You people are sitting there, you are the brains, I mean you have been selected through a certain process. You have met the eligibility criteria. You are here after a competitive process. Someone of you, for God's sake, will have to come up and take up this transportation in Sao Paulo in their research. And I'm telling you, this, if you could solve this problem, I'm not saying that, I don't know if somebody come up with, he may win the Nobel Prize, I don't know, but I think that he deserves big accolades. My point is, when you talk about these 4 or 5 short-term factors that promote economic growth, as per Solow model and Harrod-Domer model, and then human capital, which I call the medium-term kind of measures. But these are traditional factors. When you study economic development in detail, let me recall one of the lectures of my professor, Professor Murshid. He took a very different stance. He said, no, capital is same in every country. You spend it in the United States or you spend it in Brazil. Dollar is a dollar. Labor. If somebody is putting labor here in Sao Paulo or in New York, the person is the same. Technology is the same. What is the difference? If we put same amount of capital in some country, it is developed. And same amount of capital in another country, it is not developed. What is this? What is the fundamental difference? Then he came up with the idea of long-run determinants of economic growth. Very, very important concept. He gave three, from the literature. He said, geography, very important concept. Where are you located actually? Geography is very, very important. For example, if a country is located on the ring of fire, like New Zealand, it has its own issues. And a country located far away from these volcanic activities has certain advantages for that. I said, okay, then the culture, second part. Culture is very, very important. What kind of culture? What do people think there? What kind of values do they carry? How they promote their businesses? It's very, very important. This culture is different, for example, in India and Pakistan. The same culture is different in Sao Paulo. How can same capital bring same results? No, because they are strong in some values, weak in some values. So culture is very, very important. Third point which Professor Murshid raised was institutions. Institutions. We should have strong institutions. Institutional capacity. And that's all the UN's SDGs is all about social transformation. So that you come up with that level of critical human minds who are capable of bringing about institutional change all over the world. So these are some of my thoughts this evening. I don't want to prolong and don't want to transform into a formal lecture, but these are some of my thoughts. Transport planning, let me again emphasize, my friends, someone of us will have to take it up as a research proposal and come up with some robust results so that we could get a peaceful, from the traffic point of view, peaceful Sao Paulo. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thanks. I can't agree more. As someone who lives in São Paulo, born and raised, it amazes me how we can naturalize traffic.